The city was rapidly changing. Once peaceful neighborhoods were being transformed into high-rise luxury condos, but the faces of the people were changing too. Families were being displaced, elderly residents evicted, and businesses that had been there for decades were being bulldozed for new developments. The mastermind behind it all was Vincent Carver, a real estate mogul who had been making deals under the table, bribing officials, and exploiting vulnerable people for personal gain. Clint Eastwood had been watching this unfold for months. Today, he was stepping in. Clint wasn't going to let a man like Carver destroy the community for his own profit. Clint walked down the once thriving block, now filled with abandoned buildings, empty storefronts, and the smell of decay. Vincent Carver was at the center of it all, working on his latest project, a multi-million-dollar development that would displace even more families. Clint spotted Carver on the construction site, walking around with his usual smug attitude, surrounded by his underlings. Carver was explaining his vision for the neighborhood, but Clint wasn't here for his sales pitch. He walked up to the man, his eyes steely with determination. "You've taken enough from these people," Clint said, his voice low but filled with authority. Carver looked over, a cocky grin spreading across his face. "And who are you supposed to be?" He sneered. "Some crusader for the little guy?" Clint didn't flinch. "I'm the man who's going to make sure you answer for what you've done," Clint replied, his eyes never leaving Carver's. "You've bought up this neighborhood, you've run people out of their homes, and you've done it all for one thing: money." Carver laughed, clearly unbothered by Clint's accusations. "What do you expect me to do? This is business, old man. People get displaced. It's how the world works. If they can't afford it, they don't belong here." Clint's expression hardened. "That's not how the world should work," Clint said, his voice colder. "You've hurt people. You've destroyed lives, all for your profit. And I'm here to make sure you're held accountable for it." Carver's smile faltered, but he quickly regained his composure. "I don't have time for your lectures. You can't stop progress. I've got permits, I've got lawyers, I've got the system on my side." Clint stepped forward, his presence overpowering. "You can buy permits, and you can bribe officials, but you can't buy the truth." Clint pulled out a thick folder of evidence, documents showing the illegal practices Carver had been using, testimonies from evicted tenants, and a long list of shady deals that had been covered up. "You've been taking advantage of people for far too long," Clint said, slamming the folder onto the ground. "But now it's over." Carver's face twisted in anger as he tried to backpedal. "You think you can just walk in here and stop me? I've built this empire. I'm untouchable." But Clint wasn't intimidated. "You're not untouchable. Not anymore," Clint said, his voice calm but filled with resolve. "I'm not leaving until you answer for what you've done. You'll make this right, or I'll make sure the whole world knows exactly who you are." The authorities arrived soon after, led by Clint's investigation, and Carver was arrested on charges of fraud, bribery, and theft. His empire crumbled, the lies he'd built his fortune on finally exposed. Clint didn't stay for the applause or recognition. He just made sure the innocent people who had been displaced would finally get a chance to return. Because when Clint Eastwood steps in, no one escapes the consequences of their actions. And if you want to see more of Clint Eastwood's brand of justice, where those who exploit others are brought down, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon, because Clint always makes sure the truth prevails.